This is the Retirement Solution Podcast with financial advisor John Hicks, founder of J. Hagan Capital.
And I'm Heather Branch here with John to talk about ways you can be working now to better prepare for your financial future. RetirementSolutionRadio.com is our website. You can go there right now to begin your own conversation with John and his team at J. Hagan Capital. We also have links posted in the show notes. Or again, visit us at RetirementSolutionRadio.com. And when it comes to a certain group of people that are seeking this kind of advice, I mean, boomers, is it 10,000 or 12,000 boomers retiring
12,000.
every single day?
Every day, 12,000 people are turning 65 and they're looking to retire every singular day. And that's going to happen for the next 6 years. That's the crazy thing. That's why all those articles are being written. And that's why all the publications are talking about the retirement crisis.
Yeah.
Because there are so many people that are out there. There's two major issues. Number one, what's going to happen when all these folks retire and we can't replace their wisdom, their experience, their knowledge, their understanding of what they've been doing for the past 20, 30, 40 years, right? Mm-hmm. That's one big piece. Number two, what's going to happen when all of those folks go on to the government dole, start pulling out government money, and they're no longer being productive in society. Now, I don't mean not being productive. I just mean they're not helping contribute as much to the GDP.
Right.
That is what every single publication out there is talking about. There's so many economists that said, oh, this is going to be doom and gloom. This is going to cause a problem.
Yeah.
I don't really buy that.
Okay.
My fear, though, is there's a lot of people that are going to make some really poor decisions if they don't have the right style of retirement plan. And that's what the show's about. You know, we can avoid all that, but we're going to have to be thoughtful on how we plan for it. It's really not a big deal, but most people, unfortunately, procrastinate, and that can create crises. Yeah. Which is more than one crisis.
Well, I mean, would you not say that procrastination is often driven by intimidation? I mean, we were just talking earlier about just the idea of finances and financial lingo and all that stuff. It can just feel very intimidating.
Well, I think that any time that you're just not drawn to something, right? Yeah. Any time that it seems like, oh, this is going to be tough, or this is going to be hard, or this is going to be challenging, I really don't want to do that. You just put it off. And the craziest thing is it really isn't complicated, and it shouldn't be intimidating for anyone. And I know it. It's just like saying, oh, going to the dentist is not intimidating. Right. It makes my stomach just turn a little bit. And hey, this is not any kind of disrespect on any dentist in the world. It's just like, I get it. It's like, I can't help it. I just get kind of uncomfortable and my heart rate goes up. And it's like, man, this is not a big deal. But it still,
for whatever reason, it's a trigger to you.
And I always put that off. But the thing about finances are you can often, it's just like anything. If you catch something early, your chances of survival are so much better than if you wait till a problem actually festers a little bit. It's exactly the same with tax planning, exactly the same with investment planning, income planning. All that can be avoided, but unfortunately, we got to quit procrastinating sometimes. Yeah. I get it.
Well, the idea of putting things off when it comes to finances for a certain group of people is actually very understandable because there is a particular group of boomers that have really been through it when it comes to their savings and investments. They're called the Beatlemania boomers.
I didn't know they called them that.
I didn't either. This is a new term to me. So Beatlemania, I guess these are the people, they were people that were born between 60 and 65, which is, I guess, the throes of Beatlemania.
Sure.
And they are facing a different type of retirement crisis because new research shows that this group, they're the youngest of the boomers. They have significantly less wealth than older boomers, and that is thanks to the Great Recession. It hit this group of people in particular at their peak earning years between their late 40s and early 50s, that age of their working years, and their savings for many never recovered after the markets tanked, even though they were still 15 years or more from retirement.
Sure.
And for this group of people, obviously the scar is very deep. For people that saw friends or family go through that, the fear is very real.
Absolutely.
And this is exactly the type of work that you do at J. Hagan Capital, working to help protect people from this type of situation. So how does that play out in the financial plans that you build?
Well, you have to think about that just for a quick second. Like if someone just happened to be born between 1960 and 65, it put them at the peak years that they should have been killing it in their careers. Unfortunately, the Great Recession, if you remember, guys, was kind of from the tail end of 2007. And then, of course, the really bad year, 2008, all the way up to about halfway through 2009. So not only did the market, go down almost 40%, it took nearly 7 years to get back to even from being punched in the face like that. Now, these folks, they basically, a lot of them, they lost their jobs. And they had to spend down some of that savings because they couldn't find other positions, especially if they were in real estate, right? Or if they worked for Fannie or Freddie, or if they were in refinancing things or anything like that.
Even if they found a job, it paid them like half what they were making before.
That's exactly it. And this is also, think about it, 40s and 50s, the period of time when you're sending kids to colleges, sending kids to schools. You were thinking, some of us, about, maybe a vacation home. Well, not these guys. They were trying to make sure they could just hold on to their home, right? And so that can happen to any of us. We don't know what's going to happen because literally it's a market blip, if you will. But if you were a little bit older, you could have sustained. If you were a little younger, you had a little bit more time before you hit those peak earning years. Guys, think about it. That can happen to any of us for any reason. The pandemic caused here's another one. The pandemic caused a lot of people to pull out of the market because they were just paralyzed and they didn't get back in to see the crazy, unbelievable rebound of the country and the economy and frankly the world. They kind of missed out on some of that kind of stuff. It's not about crying over spilled milk or anything like that. But think about it. These are things that we can't control. So every time that we build financial plans, Heather, our whole understanding is, hey, a downturn, because there's, I don't know, let's say 40% of economists right now are saying that we will have a mild recession this year or next year.
But they've been saying that for like 2 or 3 years, I feel like. It's like, when is that other shoe going to drop?
It's kind of like I was saying before, a broken clock is right twice a day, at least. So but that's the whole idea. So they keep saying it hasn't happened, but it is an inevitability. Now, if you think about it, how can we be certain that we can weather that? Well, the thing about a good plan is it won't matter if it happens this year or next year or the year after or 5 years from now, because a retirement probably for most of us is going to last between 20 and 30 years. We're probably going to have 2 or 3 or 4 or maybe even 5 mild recessions over the next 30 years of our life. So our plan has to be certain that not only can we weather the next one, whenever that's going to happen, not if, but when it's going to happen, we have to be certain that we're prepared for the next 3 or 4 or 5 recessions. Because as we get older, it's going to be harder for us to bounce back, right? Because we're going to be consuming some of those savings. Why are we going to be consuming our savings, John? Because we're going to be spending it. We're going to want that income, right? If not to do the things that we want to do to pay for healthcare, or to give money to our grandkids, or to gift to our churches or civic organizations, things like that. So we're going to want to use that money because that was the whole point of saving it in the first place, that we have it and we can use it when we want to. The greatest plans know how much money to the penny you have protected in your accounts. So oh my gosh, if we have a terrible downturn, thank goodness 72% of my money is in a place where I can't lose it, right? Now, this didn't used to be a big deal for so many people that had pensions, because as long as that company stayed solvent, then your pension was going to pay you every month, no matter what was going on in the economy, right? This is why so many financial experts are finally now saying that people should consider annuities. Whether they use them or not, they should at least explore if those are attractive for you or not. It doesn't mean you ever get one, but you should consider looking at them as you look for a pension style income.
Well, we should consider looking at all of our options. I mean, that's the point. That's the plans you build at J. Hagan Capital. It's something that we look at everything that's out there, and then we figure out the options that are best suited for each individual person. That's what you put in your plan.
That's exactly it. So when you know how much protection that your portfolio has and how much income that you can generate, then the very next thing is, well, great. If I know my protection, I know how much income that's going to generate, even if there is a mild recession. Even if there's a terrible recession, even if we have another lost decade like we had between 1999 and 2009, that 10-year period, you literally lost money on an annual basis if you're invested in the market. But the right plan, Heather, will still allow people to stay retired and spend income during that period. That's why I say it's really not complicated. You just have to be willing to understand. Yes, I know you may have been a growth fanatic, to the moon on that Nvidia stock or that Microsoft stock or that Apple stock. But when you break it down now, we want to shift to, hey, how much do I really have to keep safe so my income is comfortable for the rest of my life? And then how much do I have left then to play with, or to invest wisely with, or to speculate with, or to buy real estate with, or whatever you choose to do, right? So those are super important. So my thought would be, since we do not know what's going to happen next, make sure you understand how much of your money is required to be protected to generate the income you need. Because as soon as you do that, guys, there's really nothing that's going to keep you up at night. Then it's just going to be, okay, how much more of that can I keep away from the government? How much more of that can I spend and choose to spend? And how much can I gift to my grandkids or my kids? That becomes the things that you start focusing on. Not, are you going to have enough to make it work?
RetirementSolutionRadio.com is our website and where you can start the conversation with John and his team at J. Hagan Capital today. We also have links posted in the show notes, or again, visit us anytime at RetirementSolutionRadio.com.
Thanks for listening to the Retirement Solution Podcast with John Hicks. Begin the conversation about your savings plan with John and the team at J. Hagan Capital by visiting RetirementSolutionRadio.com. Be sure to listen to John's radio show, The Retirement Solution, Saturdays at 8 a.m. and Sundays at 9 a.m. on News Radio 840 WHAS.
J. Hagan Capital Inc. is not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if J. Hagan Capital Inc. is licensed in your state, please call 502-690-5635. J. Hagan Capital Inc. is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency. It does not provide legal or tax advice. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through Jonathan Hicks, insurance license number 548962.